Hey guys, welcome to the Pondering Nerds Show. I am your disembodied producer, host, slash just the guy in the background somewhere. Host, Lance John. And today I have with me Alyssa Spector.
Hey.
Makeisha Brown.
Hi guys.
And Nate Rowe.
Yo.
From sunny Florida, right? You're in Florida, right?
It hasn't been sunny. It's actually been rainy as crap, but we'll go with that.
We've had some rain up here in New York City the last couple of days as well, so I feel your pain. But anyway, let's get started with the show here. Today we're going to talk about tech support madness, or I should say, there was a... Sorry, let me do that over. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There was... an article that was posted a couple of days ago. It actually started trending on Facebook at first, and then all the mainstream media picked it up, of a tech support call to end the service with Comcast by a man named Ryan Block. For those of you who, I don't know if you know who he is, he's like the co-founder of like Gizmodo and Gadget, those sort of properties. And he recorded one of his phone calls to Comcast to disconnect his service from them. And in this, what he said was about 18 minutes long, but the audio that he recorded was about 8 minutes long. The representative just would not let him off the phone. He just kept on, he wanted to know why he was leaving. It's almost like he was hurt, like he was breaking up with him or something. It was just the weirdest thing ever. I couldn't listen to the whole thing because the representative was so annoying. He sounded like he was about to cry if he didn't stay. It was just really, really crazy. And, so with that, I wanted to know, what do you guys, like, have you ever experienced anything like that when you call tech companies to, like, maybe disconnect your service or just get help? Just get some support for your product or whatever that you purchase. Like, what are some of your horror stories?
Yeah, I know I've been through it. I've been through it with a couple of companies, and I just, tough it out and just never back down, because they will try and nickel and dime you for every single service. You really will.
So, what was one of your horror stories then about that?
Well, with Living Social, I had this deal that I couldn't redeem, and I wanted to see if I could either reschedule or get my money back somehow, and I couldn't reschedule it, which I understood, and I had a legitimate reason for getting my money back in some way, but I couldn't get my money back either. I had to get this thing called Deal Bucks, but they wouldn't give me the full amount, and I insisted, and the person who I was speaking to just was not hearing it. And so I had to go over her head and write to corporate headquarters and complain about this person and insist that I get the fair treatment that they had in their bylines, and they gave me my full amount. And it was just really unnecessary that I had to do all of that. Very sad. Very sad.
What about you, Nate?
Well, I mean, kind of like we were talking about before the show, I guess my biggest beef with tech support companies nowadays, or my biggest horror story, is just I absolutely dread when I have a problem with, one of my consoles, my computer, whatever, you call up, you're already frustrated because something is going wrong, obviously, because you're calling tech support. You don't just call them to have a nice, friendly chat. You know what I mean? Most of the time you call them with a problem. And a lot of the time that's met with a language barrier. Like, I want to go ahead and throw this out there to everybody. Like, I'm totally not racist, but I'm just saying, like, nobody wants to catch somebody that doesn't speak English very well on these calls, because, I mean, it's, like I said, you already have a problem, and it's pretty much almost to the customer, it's like you're presented with another problem. Like, okay, now I got to, like, break this down into the simplest terms possible so we can both kind of, know what's going on, and you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't know. I that's always been my thing is like I kind of dread anytime I have to call a tech support company because I'm just praying that whoever picks up the phone like speaks really good English and I don't know. That's kind of my thing. Like I've had problems with MediaCom here recently and trust me, like I would never recommend MediaCom to people because of it, you know what I mean? But I'm just too lazy to change right now because I don't want to have to deal with another company. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm gonna get screwed either way. It's like politics. Tech support and cable companies are like politics. Like I just want to stay out of it if I have to, if I can. You know what I mean? So anyway.
Yeah.
No, pretty much. You want to be understood, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
All too well. Yeah. What about you? Let's say you have any horror stories to share?
Yeah, I've had my frustrations with tech support. This one time I remember, this is when I was still in school, and I was in New Jersey. I had an apartment with a roommate, and I guess somehow our Wi-Fi cropped out. So I called up Netgear. I had a Netgear router. I called up about it, and the first person I got on the phone, she was this really nice lady. And I was, talking about my frustrations. I don't know what happened. And I think I left my charger for my phone back at, home that weekend. So right when I was talking to this person, my phone died. And I had to call them back. And then second time I called up, like what Nate said, I'm not racist at all. But the second person I got on the phone, I just could not understand anything what he was saying. So, then he was just like, okay, let me put you on hold. And I just said, you know what, F this. I hung up and decided to call a third time. And a third time, a woman picked up and, I was able to understand what she was saying and she was helping me through it. But then talking to her, then my phone died again. But thankfully, I guess she had, we had a phone in the house, in the apartment. Thankfully, she called up the apartment phone number and, I was able to talk with her. And then she was able to walk me through it, like how to fix the Wi-Fi. So, yeah, that's my story.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
that sucks. I was like, my story was with a tech company right here in America. I used to be on Sprint, and I had a phone. I had the Nexus, the Samsung Galaxy Nexus phone, and it's said, it internally the phone can pick up LTE bands, right? So, but here in New York City, there is no LTE in the city. Well, at the time. They were in certain spots. They were saying, "Oh, they were testing it, blah blah, whatever." So they never really gave a timeline to when that was actually going to be fully turned on here in New York City. And I noticed on my bill I was being charged for this thing called premium service. It was an extra charge on my bill where I asked them. I said, "What is that?" And they said, "Oh, it's because your internet service." I said, "Yeah, but what exactly is the premium service? What does that entail?" It's just like, "Oh, well, that's your 3G and your 4G." It's like, "Well, I don't have any 4G here. It's in spots, but it's not fully covered everywhere. So why am I being charged for 4G coverage that I can't use?" "Well, that's just the policy." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Well, that's a nice I'm sure that's nice for your bottom line, but I don't want to pay for something I don't have access to, so could you please remove it?" "Well, if we remove it for you, we're going to have to remove it for everybody else. I mean, I'm fine with 3G. Shouldn't you be fine with 3G?" What the fuck? Who said what? I said, "Ma'am, I'm glad that you love your mediocre life, but I don't." He's like, and it's like, I know you're just doing your job, but that's just a really shitty thing to say to your customers. "Oh, because you're okay with it, then I have to be." I think at that point I told him to just disconnect my service right there. But I had an easier time than Ryan Block did with his 18-minute rant. Because I think I just upset her I think when I told her that she lived a mediocre life, she just got really upset with me and canceled my service. So if you want to get your service canceled, people, just insult the representative. They will do it so quickly, and you'll be over with it. But anyway.
Well, I mean, like, I want to throw it out there also. Like, another thing that makes me just ultra mad with tech support is, like, when you talk to somebody and then you talk to somebody else from the same company and you're getting two completely different answers.
Yes.
Like, I can't stand it when it feels like
Hate
representatives are not on the same page. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
this department doesn't work with the other or some bullshit, you know.
One time my internet went out, and, you know, I called up Mediacom, and this is just one of the many reasons why I really hate Mediacom, but I called up Mediacom. My computer said that I had access to my wireless network, but that I wasn't getting internet access. I called up Mediacom. They said, well, we don't see an outage in your area, so that was the first thing I asked was, is there an outage in my area? Because if that's the case, then it'll be back in a couple hours. That's kind of a common occurrence around here. I live in a rural country, country bona fide place, you know what I'm saying? So the internet's not that great, but I mean, so it goes out, anyway. So I'm thinking that's what the case is. It's not coming back a couple hours later, so I call back, and I'm like, what's going on? Are they working on stuff in my area? And they're like, no, that nobody's working on stuff in your area. They walked me through all this stuff. They set up all new networks for me. We did all these things. And then the next day, when it was still not working, I called up a third time. The third lady finally told me, oh, yeah, the fiber optics are down in your area, and they're going to be they're working on those for the past 24 hours. So, yeah, it was going to be off for the past 24 hours. And I'm like, dude, why could the two people last night not tell me this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I talked to two separate people. Why are they not on the same page as you? Oh, well, I'm sorry, sir, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, man, this is just ridiculous. So, yeah. Guys that are not on the same page, you know what I mean? But what can you do? Like, you have to be nice, right? You can't, like, if you create a problem, they could make your life hell. Like, seriously, they control the power, I guess, kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're the customer, but they can mess with your account if they wanted to, I guess. Like, I fear pissing them off, you know what I mean? Kind of like people who do your food at fast food. You don't want to piss off people that make your food. You know what I mean? Like,
no, that's true. Yeah. But the guy speaking with the Comcast rep, he was totally respectful. He was to the point, and he asked for reasonable things, and the guy was just ranting on him just for no reason.
Man,
I'm reading one of the comments left on that whole thing with Comcast, and somebody said this should be a Crank Yankers episode. The Comcast employee should have someone with a gun standing there watching.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking. Like, in my head was like, maybe his boss told him, listen, if you get one more person that disconnects and you can't turn them around, you're freaking fired. You know what I mean? And he's like fighting for his job, and it just happens to be this guy who records him and shit. Like, I don't know. Like, did they have any comments in that article? Was there any comment from either Comcast or that employee afterwards?
Nah, from what I understand, Comcast said they were going to look into the problem, and we're going to investigate the problem, and we're going to talk to this employee. That's pretty much what they're saying. But that usually means they probably fired him and don't give a shit afterwards. So
I have a feeling that employee he seemed like he was just paranoid about losing his job or something.
Yeah, maybe they work in commission or something.
Awesome.
Oh, but there is a statement that was released by Comcast. It says, we are very embarrassed by the way our employees spoke with Mr. Block, and we are contacting him personally apologize. The way in which our representative communicated with him is unacceptable and not consistent with how we train our customer service representative. We are investigating the situation and will take quick action. While the overwhelming majority of our employees work very hard to do the right thing every day, we are using this very unfortunate experience to reinforce how important it is to always treat our customers with the utmost respect. Yeah, whatever.
Like something that a company would just have to say after something like that. It's like, in layman's terms, it's like, yeah, this fucking guy's crazy. We don't know, man. We'll ask. I don't know.
They're not gonna come right out and say like, yeah, we tell our employees they better get,
right.
They better do their job, or we're gonna fire their ass.
Yeah,
So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So he was probably doing what he was told to do by his superior, and
he's like, keep doing it.
You know what I mean?
Well,
so
anyway.
I'm actually kind of happy. So yeah.
Look,
Right,
when I worked in retail, I remember like they say, oh, we treat the customer with respect, but I remember they told us, in training, saying like, you have to make a connection with the customer, you have to try to get them, to buy something, et cetera, and I was like, that's just annoying the customer.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, we're a little over time here, but because the discussion was good anyway, so we're gonna end it right here. So don't forget to follow us on you can find the Facebook group, on Facebook. It's called Pondering Nerds. We're also on Twitter, Pondering Nerds Show, I believe it's called. I don't remember the current moment. But if you want to catch the bulk of our content, check us out on YouTube at the Pondering Nerds Show. And we're still working on getting the show on iTunes so you can download it to your heart's content and listen to wherever you want. But this has been the Pondering Nerds Show, and we'll see you next segment. Peace.
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 Bye, guys.